Welcome back. It's time to hear some of your consumer questions that the BBB has been answering lately. And we welcome back Heather Clary from the Better Business Bureau. We remind you can continue to call for the next half hour through the rest of this newscast at 859-294-6090. But these are some of the things that have been coming into your office the last couple weeks over things people were wondering about.
Right, and these are things, too, that all of us can learn from, which is why we like to do this every now and again to present a particular situation, because most of us have run into it or will run into it at some point, so that you'll have an idea of how to deal with it. And the first question came from a gentleman that had bought a piece of furniture. And his question was he changed his mind about it, that he bought from a local store, and he wanted his money back. And the store said that their receipt had the return policy printed on it, which says store credit or exchange only. Well, he didn't see that at the time. He didn't want anything else in the store. Don't they have to refund my money? Well, the answer to that is not necessarily. No, retailers are allowed to set their own policies for returns and exchanges and refunds in the state of Kentucky. Now, if they're willing to make good on it and give you something else, if there was something wrong with it. But this is a good example of why it is important for the consumer to find out the refund policy. The store does not have to post it. You should ask about it, especially if you're making a large ticket purchase and especially as the holidays are approaching. So, word to the wise shopper on that one. Check it out on the front end so that you know what the deal is before you leave, because buyer's remorse, whatever it is, they don't have to do it. Another question we got this week, and this is becoming more problematic. We're getting more calls similar to this. It involves lending money to you. Someone said that they saw an ad run by a company in one of those local advertiser tabloids that you see around promising loans of up to $50,000. Bad credit, no problem. And this person called and they faxed him papers and they wanted him to wire $3,200 via MoneyGram because his credit is kind of iffy. They said it was to cover insurance. Is that legit? No. Do not wire money to anyone that says they can loan you money. That's called the advance fee loan scam. It's against the law to require a fee up front. And you would very well lose that money. We have talked to some people who did, because usually the crook is sitting in Canada and there's no way you can do that. So look at those ads very carefully. Don't fall for it, especially if you have bad credit. You're going to want to check that out with us. Better to be safe than sorry. And yet another question. This is going around the mailboxes again. It's from the Census Bureau. It's the American Community Survey. Someone said, I got that in the mail. Has lots of questions on many pages. I've been working on it. Some of these questions seem kind of personal to me. Is this legit? And do I have to return it? And the answers to those is yes and yes. It is from the U.S. Census Bureau. It's the survey they run on the off-season. They run it all the time in various communities to help determine the needs of a community in infrastructure, schools, roads, where public assistance programs may be needed. That's why they ask things like what time you leave for work or how much money you make. It is legit, and you do, by law, have to return those. So if you get one of those, you got to take care of it.
We got one a couple years ago at our house. It does take a while to fill it out.
And I've seen one. It is kind of
there is a purpose behind it. Well, good information as always, and you can continue to ask your questions at 859-294-6090. Coming up in our next half hour, we'll tell you about an event from the BBB to help you shred some sensitive papers you may have around the house. That's up next. We'll be right back.